Hi you guys, this is Kristin Flor, and I was just going to tell you guys a few things that I just found on the internet, so check it out. So I went on to the internet and I went to the Federal Bureau of Prisons and I looked up what's going on here, and I found out that there's 196,352 people in prison right now that are being currently incarcerated by the federal government. So I went to inmate statistics and I found out a couple things. One, this is the ages of people who are in prison. So if you're between the age of 26 and 46, you know, you're likely to spend the best times of your life. Not likely, but it's possible that you could spend the best times of your life in prison. Okay? Especially if you're the age 31 to 36. These two here are pretty high. So we have a lot of middle-aged men in prison. I'm going to go through this. Most of our people are inmates. Our inmates are American citizens. Some of them not. Some of them are from Mexico. A lot of them are from Mexico. Which takes me to this part of it. Most of us are non-Hispanic, but quite a bit of us, a ton of us, are Hispanic. So that's the chart figures there. Which I'm going to go right real quick to offensives. Because it's Hispanics, and we're talking about immigration on here. On this is why they're in there. Well, not why, but it could be drug reasons and stuff. But we have 17,354 people in prison right now for immigration. So that is a nonviolent crime that our people are locking our Hispanics up for. And I can't assume that all of them are here for immigration, but it's likely that they are. Okay, so gender. Most of our population, our prison populations, are males. Okay, we have a little bit of people in prison that are females, which tells me, okay, that most of the females are out here while a lot of men are incarcerated, leaving these women out to basically raise children by themselves. These broken families are out here while the men are in here. Okay, what are they doing in prison? Well, we're going to talk about that in just a second. But first, we're going to talk about the offenses. Why people are in prison. Check that out. You see it rise from. We have 886,080 people in prison for number E. Let's see what letter E is. Drug offenses. 86,080 people. So 46% of the prison population are in there for drug offenses. Okay. Let's see, the second highest is M, which is weapons, explosives, and arson. Yeah, we don't want arsonists running around here, okay? I agree. But weapons and explosives, so by owning a weapon or explosive, you have went to prison, the second highest number. However, what kind of gets me is this number right here, number G. We have 5,545 people in there for homicide, aggravated assault, and kidnapping. So that tells me that just because you own a weapon, you're going to jail. You don't even necessarily have to commit the crime, but they're going to lock you up, even if you're nonviolent, just for probably having weapons. Okay, so that's those numbers right there. I'm also going to check out some of these other numbers. Burglary, larceny, public offenses. That's 792. We could call those violent crimes if we want to. If we knew the reason why people were stealing, maybe we can call them nonviolent crimes. But check this out. What else are we going to do? Drug offenses, extortion, fraud, bribery, homicide. We checked that out. Immigration. We talked about that. Miscellaneous. 1,521 people. What is that? National security, 73. I mean, that seems to be what I'm concerned about. Sex offenders, that's good. I'm concerned about that. It tells us, but only 7.7% of our prison population are sex offenders. So, we got a lot of people on the streets, but not in prison for that. So let's think about this next time. Okay, so 86,000 people, 80 are in prison. Most of them are men, and most of them are Let's check out inmate race. White or black. Okay. That tells us Asians are not going as much, quite a bit, as the white and the black. Okay, so if we go back to this one, let's just talk about this again. Offenses. There we go. Okay, this is people who are incarcerated. Again, drug offenses. Drug offenses. That is a nonviolent offense. Now, I'm going to say back, I wonder why. You know, I wonder why there's so many people in prison for drug offenses. Because back in 1971, the government launched, it was called a war on drugs. So now let's go back to this one here. That tells me that it's mostly white and black people selling the most drugs in the United States of America. And they're going to prison the most, between the ages of 26 to 41. That's where our drug dealers and our drug offenders are at, basically. So in my opinion, you know, we're launching a war on drugs, and we're taking people who have probably hit poverty level. Not necessarily, though, but I suspect a lot of people in this age bracket hit poverty level, sell or use some drugs, and go to prison. Okay? Instead of, like, in my opinion, I think we could be, if they're using drugs, they belong in the healthcare system, not the prison system, where you can help them. A lot of these guys here, you know, assuming that they have kids and families at those ages, and I assume people are hitting poverty. Maybe there's not enough jobs out there, so they're turning to alternative means of making a living, and then it's winding them up in prison, and it's taking all this other stuff out here to, you know, all this other chaos in the world is going on. So next, you guys, I want to go to a couple other things. Prison safety, we're gonna leave that one alone right now. Prison security levels. Okay, this is important. Most of our prisoners are in low security levels. Okay, that tells me that they're not very violent. So the high is the dangerous ones, the minimum, medium. But the low, it means that most of our people are nonviolent. Okay, so we're taking nonviolent men out of our children's lives and we're locking them up in prison. That's, you know, it's proof that they're not very violent. Maybe they shouldn't necessarily be there. But what do we do? What do we do instead? Well, think about it like this, okay? They launched a war on drugs, okay? And we've got, let's go to this, race. We've got most of our white and black people are in prison. Most of the population in prison are white and black. Okay, well, in prison it's crazy because they're very segregated. It's very racial and very tense back there because that is kind of the way that they survive in prison. However, out here on the streets, it's kind of the same thing going on. There's a lot of fighting going on, and we're led to believe that there's a race war going on. However, it's not necessarily a race war. In my opinion, it's more a war on drugs. So in order for this whole number to go away, and for this number here to go down, it seems like the government, we need to end the wars that we are fighting and focus on the big war that's going on, the war that's going on all around us. Uh-oh, my computer went dead. Oh gosh. Okay, so now what we're going to do, because we're done with that part anyway, is we're going to look at some of the figures I got figured out here. So, why are they locking up so many of our nonviolent prisoners? Why? That is the question. Well, if you figure like this, I'm going to just go through some of the answers that I came up with. Oh, man, you guys. Okay, so here's some of the answers that I came up with. And I figured out this. Okay, I figured out that the government is paying our prisoners less than 12 cents an hour behind bars to work for them. And what are they making? We'll get to that in a second. What are they working for? Okay, but first I've added it up. Drug crimes, there's 86,080 drug people in drug crimes. 429 continuing criminal enterprises. I don't know what that is, but I added 429 there. Immigration, that's heck of nonviolent. 17,354. And miscellaneous, I don't know what they're calling miscellaneous. They do whatever they want. So there's 1521 miscellaneous people in prison. So I'm calling it 105 12,384 people are in there are nonviolent, okay? What are they doing? They're forcing them to work for 12 cents an hour, okay? So 12 cents an hour, that's, the government is paying our prisoners $12,446 an hour, 101,168.64 per day, 708,180 per week, and this is per year. That's what they're paying our prisoners per year at 12 cents an hour. $777,694 million our government spends to pay them 12 cents an hour. What are they doing? Well, when my mom was in prison, she was working for the federal government, or she was washing windows. The prisoners in the prison next to her, the men prisoners, they were cutting up McDonald's French fries. They do have this thing to where our prisoners have to make uniforms for the military. So that brings me to another thing. So if you don't sell drugs, what's your other option for a lot of our people to besides jobs? Our options is to sell drugs. So you're either going to sell drugs or you're going to work for the military, or you're going to make their uniform. So basically you're going to work for the government no matter what you do. Okay, so check this out. Okay, so then that's per year. Okay, so now if all these people right here were not in prison, and if they had an education, they had means to find a real job, I figure they would at least be making $10 an hour, okay? So if they were on the streets and they had a job, they'd be making $10 an hour. Not if they were selling drugs, but if they actually had a job and they were working, they'd make $10 an hour. So that would be that an hour, that a day that the community would, that they would be making for their jobs, that a week, okay? So a year, these prisoners would make $21,540,489.60 per year is what they would be making if they were not in prison, if they had a job for $10 an hour. Okay, what does that do? It saves our nation $21,282,711,905.28 per year. So what are our people doing behind bars? Well, if you ask me, I think that they're turning them into slaves. I think that Slavery 2016 exists, and I think it exists in the prisons. And so what do we do to end it? I think I would encourage everybody to get active in your communities, find out what it's going to take to create more jobs, more stability, more education, and get active. You men are going to prison and you need to be with your family. So let's end the war on drugs. Oh, this is upside down. I'm sorry, you guys. Anyway, check out my video. Thank you for listening to me and have a nice day.